Alright, so you've been playing your electric guitar for a while, and it's starting to look a little bit worn and tattered and frayed, and you want to clean it up, you want to get back to its former glory, like kind of when it was new. Let's just kind of take a look at this one. This one's been around the block a while. This is a 1986 Fender Contemporary Strat, and as you can see, it's pretty dirty. She's been around the block. A friend of mine gigs with this regularly, and you know, spends more time playing it than he does cleaning it, and every once in a while he'll drop it off and just have me detail it for him. So, you know, it needs a little help, and we're going to do that today. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to work on detailing the neck, we're going to detail the body, and you know, you're going to want a couple of different things for this. For example, like if you're doing finishes on guitar bodies, pick guards, stuff like that, you're just going to want to pick up a nice high quality guitar polish. Gibson, Martin, Dunlop, they all make really good products. You know, try some of them out. I'm using Gibson today, but I've used most of the polishes out there, and they're all really good. So this is great for doing finishes, pick guards, painted and finished headstocks. And if you have an old Fender guitar, like a Fender Stratocaster from the 70s that has a really high gloss neck, just use this on the entire guitar and you'll get a really good result. If you're using, if you have a guitar like this that's got a rosewood fretboard, what I usually do, I get a better cleaning when I just use like a normal furniture polish. Anything that you have at home would probably work just fine. It gets into the fret wire, near the fret wire, the neck and everything, cleans that up a lot better. I would not recommend using this on a nitrocellulose finish or an older guitar. Just use that for like rosewood or ebony fretboards. Now when you're doing the body, you want to use a microfiber cloth. This will not scratch anything. It's a very, it kind of sticks to you. I got dry hands here, so, but it's a very nice, fairly inexpensive cloth that you can pick up car detailer shops. But it's really nice. It won't scratch the finish. For doing the neck, however, we're going to just take a cotton cloth because, you know, you got finger oils, you got dirt and everything like that, and this has a tendency to pull all that up a little bit better. And when it comes to rosewood, stuff like that, you don't really have to worry about, you know, scratching the finish because it is basically a conditioned raw wood. So let's get started here. We're going to start on the neck right now, and true to form is what I said. We're going to start with the headstock, and that's got a finish on it. So I'm just going to shake up this Gibson polish a little bit. Grab my microfiber rag, and we're just going to, you don't need a lot of this stuff, you just need to kind of spritz it on there. And that polish is also really good for doing hardware. So I always lay the tuning pegs flat, that way you can wipe them off a lot easier. And once you got that, just start working that polish around. You'll kind of notice it moves around a little bit before it evaporates and gets into the rag. So you just kind of got to work it around a little bit. Kind of work around all the hardware a little bit, and if you get some really weird spots, you can just take and fold the rag over a little bit and just kind of tuck it in. This is another tight spot. We're going to tuck that right in there and just kind of pull it through and get in between. You can see that's coming up pretty good, shining up pretty nice. Okay, that's basically how you do the headstock. Now remember too, if you have a Floyd rose nut, or like this is the contemporary Strat style nut, you know, it works pretty good there too, just for shining up the chrome or the nickel plating. So just kind of wipe that clean. And now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of this. I'm going to straighten this out a little bit. To do the fretboard, we're going to just slide this over a little bit. Take your furniture polish. Now you don't really want to truly soak this, but you want to get it around, just kind of spritz it a little bit. And once you got a little bit on there, just kind of take your hand and rub it so that it hits the entire fretboard. And then once we're there, what we're going to do is just take that rag just like this with 3 fingers, and you're going to want to start rubbing cross grain. and try and get the rag into the fret wire, right next to the fret wire, and clean up all that, because that's where all the gunk starts to accumulate. You know, hand oils and dirt and everything get in there, and it starts to build up. So we're going to start here, and always just support the neck. Okay, and get right into those fret wires, and just move right down the neck. And already, you know, we can see some dirt coming off, so that's good. We'll keep working this. We'll just go all the way up the neck. Try and make sure that you can get on both sides of each fret wire. We're pulling some more dirt up. And, you know, if you find a spot that's really bad, just take one finger and maybe a little bit of your fingernail and just get right into the groove there. And that, of course, pulls it right up. Furniture polish is good for the rosewood too. It kind of helps condition, and you'll find out too that you know, your neck will be a little bit more slippery. Might perform a little bit better while you're playing, and of course it'll look better. Let's see how we're doing. Yep, see the dirt's coming right up. You can kind of see where my friend solos now that we're up on top. And again, just keep working all the way up. Again, we're still pulling more dirt. Okay, now you can see on the rag we pulled up a little bit of dirt, and you know, that's just from you know, playing in bars and, you know, practicing a lot. Finger oils and everything get in there, skin oils. So it's good to get that out of there once in a while and clean up the edge of the fret wire. It helps prevent corrosion over time. Now that we've got that, what we want to do is just ball it up again on your hand and just go over the fretboard again and just kind of polish it up a little bit. And you'll notice a little bit of shine comes off of the fretboard because it's nice and clean. And you might notice a little bit of, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but like where the string lays next to the fret wire, you can see where it's still kind of new because, you know, the finger oils don't get right under the string, so you might be able to see where the strings are laying once you get it all cleaned up. Okay, now the fretboard's pretty good, and we're still pulling a little bit. If you really are still pulling dirt out, it's not going to hurt you to do this a couple of times. Just go sparingly. You don't want to oversaturate the wood. What ends up happening is it'll start to pull a grain. You might end up having the wood come up and press a fret up, and you'll get a proud fret, which will end up giving you fret buzz. So just spritz a little bit on it. You don't need a whole lot to do the job. And there we go. There's the fretboard. So now we're done with the headstock and the fretboard. Let's just flip this guitar over and just quickly do the back of the headstock and the neck. And we're going to use the microfiber because it's got the finish on it. So we'll just give it a little bit of spritz here, and we'll wipe all that clean. You know, and while you're here too, looking at the back of the headstock, make sure that your hardware is nice and clean. A clean guitar is definitely a happy guitar, and it'll probably perform better for you. So move the rag around a little bit. We got a good shine out of that too. So while we're here and we've got the guitar upside down, let's just move all this over, and let's do the back of the guitar. Again, this has the finish on it. So what we're going to do is just take that microfiber cloth and just a little bit of that polish. Like I said, don't use a whole lot. Little goes a long way with this stuff. And just kind of work it in. Work around the edges. Work in the cutaways. You can see it takes that chrome finish, polishes that up really nice. Does really good on the plastic too. And again, all of those polishes that I mentioned before are going to be more than adequate. Kind of flip the rag around a little bit so you don't keep the wet spot going. And comes up to a pretty good shine. Now this guitar, again, it's a 1986, so maybe you can see in the camera, it's got a little bit of belt wear on there, or belt buckle rash. The only way we're going to get rid of that is to high-speed buff it, and I'm not going to do that at this time because the guitar is pretty much in fairly good shape yet. And there's the back, and I hope you can see that that made a big difference. Okay, now let's flip this over. See if you can see the shine that's coming off of that. Black finishes are tough. They will show every blemish. If you get like a candy apple red or a candy blue or something like that, it kind of hides it. Alright, so here, let's just take a look at this. And I kind of want to emphasize the before and after on this because, you know, people spill things on this. You know, the dirt accumulates, especially around the pickups and under the strings. A lot of people, a lot of guitar players, they don't really, you know, pull their strings off all at once. If they have a problem at a gig or whatever, they'll just change the string that broke. So this has a tendency to get real dirty. Now, there's a couple of things you can do. When it comes to pick guards, when it comes to pickups, bridges, stuff like that, if you're comfortable removing components and partially disassembling, I would recommend it. It's easier to get into the grooves and get all this cleaned up. You know, move the pickups around. If you've got a chunk sitting in here or a bunch of dust that you can't really get at, take a screwdriver and pick that pickup up, clean the side of it, and then put it right back down in place. So let's get going on this. Again, we're going to be using the Gibson polish, and we'll just start up here. It's pretty gross, so we'll start up here and we'll just see how this goes. And again, a little goes a long way. We're going to use that micro cloth. Just work the polish around. Try and get into the grooves the best you can. Again, I recommend that you guys and girls just take a little bit of time sometimes, once in a while, to do this. Your guitar will perform better. And of course, if you're comfortable, like maybe pulling the bridge off or pulling the pickguard off, you don't have to remove wiring or anything. You just have to, you know, take the pickguard out and set it aside. Now, just from a quick little rub, looks pretty good. And now that I picked this up, I just noticed that the edge is pretty dirty yet. I didn't get this section here, so I'm just gonna spritz a little bit right on the edge here and concentrate just on that area. And you can do small areas at a time. The back I did all in one because there's really no obstructions, there's no pickups, there's no bridge, there's no nothing. It was just a nice flat surface. Okay, so we've got that whole top edge good to go. I'm going to set that back down. The upper horn, the cutaway here, that looks really good. A little bit sketchy in here. I'd almost have to remove the pick guard to get right into that crevice near the neck, but it's not going to a guitar show or anything. It's just going back to my friend, and he's going to probably play it until it looks like that again. So we'll just work away on the finish back here near the bridge, and we'll push that polish around a little bit. And always put something down too on the table or wherever you're working. Give yourself a nice area to work, and to protect the back of the guitar and the front of the guitar when you flip it over. Always put you know, a microfiber cloth down or like a dish towel, something that protects the back of the guitar or the surface of the guitar from your workstation. Okay, that looks pretty good. You know, I think if you really wanted to try and get into some crevices, you might want to try a Q-tip, like right in here. That's going to be kind of tough to get at. Just spray a little bit of your polish on there and see what happens. In the past, I've actually tried to get in here. I've taken like a microfiber cloth and like a flat-headed screwdriver. I cannot recommend that because what happens is the screwdriver goes through the cloth and you end up scratching the guitar, which, you know, we're trying to make it better. We're not trying to make a more serious repair. Now, these polishes are really good. You can spray it right on the pickups. It's not going to hurt anything. And then just concentrate like on the edges of the pickups, okay? Kind of position your rag so that you can get a nice surface on the side and then push up against. And that'll get right up, clean up right next to the pickup on that pick guard. Pickups you can get too, they're all plastic, so the polish works really good for those too. And again, if you find that, so you can see some dirt coming off of there, if you find that the first round of polish doesn't quite get you there, you know, just go go ahead and do it again. Now right around in here in the neck area with the pickup, on Strats it's kind of tough to get in there, so just kind of fold the rag over and kind of tuck it in there, and if you can get a finger in there or just ball the rag up like I just did, move it around, it should clean it up pretty good. I got a trouble spot right there. We'll work that out. Alright, this is coming around pretty good. Work right around that pick guard on that lower horn, lower cutaway. I've even pulled necks off just to get the pocket really clean. This one doesn't seem too bad. Sometimes you get like dry skin or dirt and dust that gets accumulated in there, and if you find that to be kind of bothersome, you can just take the neck off. The bolt-ons are real easy. If you're trying to pull a neck off a Les Paul, it probably won't work good for you. Those are set necks, so you kind of got to work around. So this thing's actually coming around pretty good. Now we get down to the electronics here, and this can kind of be kind of a cumbersome area to work with, especially like right next to the bridge and down in here where the controls are. There's not a whole lot of room to move. So what I usually will do is, instead of spraying the polish right on the guitar, I usually move the switch out of the way. I'll take a finger, put it into that microcloth, like so, and just take a little bit of that polish and just wet the edge a little bit, and then just concentrate my efforts in there. Okay, just work around, try and get next to that pickup there. And again, you know, if you feel comfortable pulling the knobs off and getting underneath, that's great. You know, anything you can do to get the detail job better, or however hard you want to, you know, work at this is your decision. I personally like a very clean guitar. I maintain mine just constantly. Guitars aren't cheap these days. You want to kind of keep them in good shape as long as you can. Okay, once you got it kind of cleaned up, we can kind of see streaks and everything. Not a whole lot came off on that, but you just kind of want to go and just work the area again until it dries out. Shines up a bit. And you kind of want to be careful too. You don't want to be you know, really working the switch really hard or anything, or pulling anything. And while you're doing this too, you can actually find out, you know, is the switch loose? Do I have any loose components? This actually looks really good. If you do have loose components, you can pull these off and just tighten the nuts up. And it's all about maintaining your guitar. So, you know, while you have it apart, the strings are off, you know, look at the fret wires and stuff like that. And we're going to do that in a second here and just kind of check this guitar over. My friend never said anything about having any wiring problems or anything, so I'm not going to really get into that. I'm going to just flip this up on its side here and just get this edge. So bear with me here and just give that a little bit of a spritz. Get that all nice and cleaned up. Oops. Alright, now let's just kind of look this over. I mean, I remember this thing coming in kind of dirty, and we've only got a few minutes into this, and it really is starting to look nice. The only other thing I kind of want to go through is kind of detailing the bridge here. Now, again, this guitar's, you know, pushing 30 years old, and you can see there's corrosion. There's corrosion in the bridge here. There's no saving that. It's going to make, something like this is actually going to make it very hard for me to adjust the bridge. You can see that all the bolts are kind of corroded. There's a lot of corrosion in here. Actually, we're looking for a bridge to replace this, but at this point, you know, with the pitting and everything, we're just going to wipe it down and, you know, go with what we've got. And I noticed too right here, I forgot to get right in here, so let's try and see if I can get that area clean too right away. And it's those little details that really make your guitar look really good. From a distance, yeah, it'll look probably pretty good when you're playing on stage. But it's those very small details that when you get right up on it, that people will notice, hey, you know, that guy takes good care of his stuff. So just like what we did down here, I'm just going to take a little bit of the polish spray it on a finger on the microfiber rag. And we're just going to work around the bridge. Now again, we're not looking for a miracle here because you know, this thing's been around for a long time, and it's my friend's favorite guitar. He plays this thing all the time. It's probably hurting him that I have it here right now, but he'll like it when he gets it back. Try and get as much of this as you can clean. Again, I'm limited until we get a better bridge, and then I'll probably help him install that. Okay, so on camera, I don't know if you can see the difference. I can tell a little bit in person here that it did shine up a little bit. Fine tuners look a little bit better. Try and get in here a little bit. Now, when it comes to partial disassembly, I'll just use an old like Fender style bridge here. I mean, if you really want to get into it and you want to take this apart, it's not really that hard. You just pull the screws off and stuff like that, and then you can really detail the bridge itself and then put it back on. Same with the pickguard. You can take that off, detail around the edge, detail everything, and then place it back on, and that'll give you a cleaner edge where your pickguard and body are. Again, taking the neck off on this guitar, it's just 4 bolts, and you can just very easily take the guitar neck off and then, you know, clean the entire neck, front, back, sides, into the pocket, everything, and that'll give you even a better effect. And it might not make it sound better, but it'll play a lot better. And guitar's kind of hard to play sometimes, depending on who you're, you know, whose style you're chasing, or if you're writing music and stuff like that. It can be pretty difficult to play. If you can get your guitar to play even easier, you might enjoy yourself more while you're playing. Now, while I was doing this, I want to slide this back over. And we detailed the neck, and the fretboard looks pretty good. Now, I just kind of, if you can zoom in here and just maybe look at some of these fret wires, you can see that this guitar has been used over the years, and you can see a lot of dings in the fret wire. And what that's from is years of playing. Especially down here, you're going to see grooves and divots in the fret wire from holding chords. The strings vibrating on the fret wire over time does have a tendency to wear into them. Now, some people would think, well, you know, this guitar's probably seen its better days. Maybe I'll just go and maybe trade it in. But you know, they don't make 1986 guitars anymore. And like I said, my friend really likes the sound of this, the playability of it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest to him that we do a fret level and recrown. And I'll do that on another video so you guys can see what this is all about. But we can breathe new life into this neck. It's got a lot of life left in it. As I run my hands across here, there's a lot of height left on the fretboard, but it does need some freshening up. What ends up happening to your guitar when you get to this point is, you know, you'll get fret buzz. You know, you'll be holding chords, you might have to push down a little bit harder, and it makes it a little bit harder to play. And like we just discussed before, guitar can be hard enough to play. You don't want to have to fight your instrument. So in an upcoming video, I'll do the fret job on this, and we'll get this thing looking really good. And what that'll do too is, when we bring this back up, maybe you can see this, maybe you can't, but there's like a little bit of corrosion on here that polish just didn't quite take up, and there's kind of a dullness to it. And you know, I can show you how to polish that all up and make this look like brand new. So there it is, detailing, front, back, the neck, bridge, the chrome hardware. I hope you can see in the video that this guitar looks a lot better than it did when it came in. And it's very easy and very inexpensive for you guys to do this yourself. And you know, it's just kind of something to do before you restring. I do this every time I restring a guitar because, you know, you play it, it gets a little dirty. If you're playing out or playing gigs a lot, we all know the kinds of things that go in bars. People could spill beers on it, whatever. But you know, a well-maintained guitar will very well treat you. And I can't stress enough the importance of just maintaining your guitar. It'll last a long time. And this is a prime example because it's a 1986 and it's still got a lot of life left in it, even though the frets are a little bit used up. So Go and try some different polishes. Use your microfiber rags and your cotton rags to clean. Don't be afraid to, disassemble a little bit and just take a couple of screws off to move components. Just be careful that you're not cross-threading and stuff like that. Just take your time, be careful, and your guitar can look like this. So good luck with the polishes and furniture polish, and enjoy your guitar.